the use of herbs and any kind of aid when it comes to your training and your lifestyle. So, I've spoken previously about the use of Sustanche, and where does that sit in your life? Because if you take something every day, are you externally dependent on it? Well, it depends on what your relationship is with it. So if you are relying on that substance, even if it works really well for your sense of masculinity, then you are externally dependent on forces outside of you. You're not tapped into that deep inner fire. At its best, what these substances can do is they can reunite you with those sensations and give you a reference point for what vitality feels like. So when you're out of balance, they can bring you back into a state of balance. They can reignite you with a sense of satisfaction in work. They can reignite you with just your sexual fires, for example. Like you might not have been horny for a little while, and that's actually a bit of a problem. Sometimes in life you go through phases where you need to focus more of your energy on creative work, and you might not be so interested in sex. But now we're getting into the territory of sexual alchemy, which is another topic for discussion on a separate video. But let's come back to the point, which is that if you're feeling out of sorts, these substances can bring you back into sort. For example, Tongkat Ali, even though these are all essentially like testosterone boosters, Tongkat Ali works more specifically in making you feel or helping you feel more satisfaction in work. So when you're actually doing hard, gritty work, it makes the grit and the grind feel good. And if you're feeling sort of soft and flimsy, that's just what you need to harden up your chi and your internal forces. So I have a lot of these things at hand, but do I take something every day? Well, I'll probably take something every day, because the line between food and supplement, I don't really make too much of a distinction with, or food and medicine, let's say. Food is medicine, and medicine, should be food most of the time. So, for example, every day I might take something like bee pollen, because bee pollen makes you feel really good and vibrant. It has high energy. It's a very high energy substance. Vibrationally speaking and molecularly speaking, it's got plant hormones in it, which, in the same way that soy is bad for you, this stuff is good for men. It helps promote testosterone production, spermatogenesis, this sort of thing. So, a bit of bee pollen really sparks up your mood. If coffee isn't cutting it alone, or you're, a grumpy bastard, then a bit of bee pollen can really help brighten your day up. Give you a little buzz. So, bee pollen's a good daily one. Taurine and creatine, that's also a good daily combination. Because they're natural, like they're a natural foundational amino acid that you find in meat, and by increasing your uptake of them, you're going to be boosting your biology. You're going to be essentially helping your overall bodily functions, ranging from mood to energy sources. I've got a new dog, and he's a bit of a goofy bugger. So you're going to be taking the edge off with taurine, taking the edge off the sort of anxiety that you might get from certain substances, and you're going to be increasing your energy capacity with the creatine. So that's how that combination is going to work. Also, if you're a shift worker or if you're not getting good sleep, then that combination has been shown clinically to help with performance, mental and physical performance under sleep deprivation conditions. So it's also been proven to help with significantly with depression and anxiety. So bee pollen and taurine and creatine are things that you can take every day, along with fish oil. That's a really powerful stack that will make you feel happy and strong pretty much all day long. Other things like Tongkat Ali, Sustanche. I think Shilajit's something because it's more of a mineral tonic. It's a mineral complex, and then the fulvic acid helps with the digestibility and the absorbability of a lot of things. if you're getting good quality Tongkat Ali, that's something you probably take every day. But your other more potent herbs, there's this effect that you can get when you overtake something where it basically just dies and you can no longer get an effect or a benefit from it. That's because your body's always looking for equilibrium. And if you're still producing these things within your body, which is what these herbs tell you to do, then you will eventually have those effects wear off. So I believe in using the herbs, the herbal health augmentation, a little bit more consciously and sparingly, as opposed to just smashing yourself with it all the time, every day. And if you don't get your dose, you feel like less of a man. You'll feel more potent that way. And that's the thing. The other thing is everything moves in cycles in life. So if you're constantly trying to elevate something, then you're potentially moving against the cycles of life. You might have, actually you're meant to have phases. It might be once a month where you have a day or so where you're just feeling low and flat, and you should just go with that. You don't need to always push yourself to be redlining. Like, that's not good for a vehicle. It's not good for your physical body, which is also a vehicle. So allow yourself to move through the cycles of life and just use these herbs, to reconnect with these sensations, with these energies within your body. Because at the end of the day, it's a plant, it's an energy source, and it will help you in a more spiritual way as well as just the purely material, physical way. If you only care about the material side of life and you don't believe in a higher spirit over matter, then just do steroids and have a good connection with your doctor and just be on steroids for the rest of your life. That's the matter over spirit. But if you care about the spirit being higher than the matter, and the matter is there to serve the spirit, then you want to take a much more conscious approach to supplementation. All right. So that on another note, that is actually a good stack for masculine vitality. Cistanche, particularly the tubulosa variety, Tongkat Ali, and if you can get a standardized 2.5%, or 2 to 2.5%, that's even better. Shilajit, Fudogia agrestis. Fudogia agrestis, be mindful that it also does increase estrogen as well. So if you don't have your emotions in check, Fudogia agrestis is likely can make you feel a little bit unhinged. A little bit also more feminine too, because it works by increasing luteinizing hormone. And luteinizing hormone is the precursor to both testosterone and estrogen and all the other substrates and different variations of those hormones. So, be warned about Fudogia agrestis. I also find with Fudogia agrestis, it can make me feel a little bit puffy. But, that's just me. I can be on the puffier side. I hold a lot of water naturally, and that's fine. It serves me well to hold a lot of water. I'm not, going for a photo shoot, like, really ever. So, I've just learned to accept myself as a puffier kind of dude, even though I'm fairly lean. I tend to hold it a bit in the face, but if you really give a shit about that, I don't know, you probably got other things to worry about, or don't worry about it. That's the thing. But yeah, herbs really work. You should be more sensitive though. You should allow yourself to be more sensitive, be more dialed into the subtleties of how these things are affecting you. Don't take everything at once. Don't take these massive, long lists, because even if they, work for a little bit, they'll eventually stop working. You won't know what worked and what didn't work for you. They'll have contraindications, and you'll, probably burn yourself out in some way, or you'll burn your body's capacity to get derive a benefit from those herbs. Ashwagandha. Now that's a good one for masculinity, but that works by giving you a grounded sense of calm, or maybe calm isn't even the word, but it annihilates your cortisol, and cortisol and testosterone compete for cholesterol. So if you have less cortisol, you're going to have higher capacity for testosterone, and it also works on your serotonin receptors and has an augmentation on your dopamine as well. Some people can get really depressed off ashwagandha. particularly from the first go. So look, I'm not either recommending it or not recommending it, but that being said, if you're highly stressed and you're in a state of constant stress, then it can be a really effective way of breaking that cycle. It can break the cycle of running off cortisol, and even just breaking that cycle momentarily can allow you to think from a different perspective. So, sometimes that's another thing, is even substances that can allow you to think from a different perspective can be what you need. But when you start to rely on these things to get the job done, that's when you've missed the mark. That's when you're essentially an addict, whether it's a natural herb or a drug or whatever it is. That's when you're an addict. And always look within first. Like, the more you can actually manage your own internal weather, the more powerful you will be. But we do have these worldly aids at our disposal to use consciously. So use them consciously. Be a scientist of your own body. Don't always listen to the science, because the science is very biased. And it's limited. The science can be limited by the people that are conducting it. And something doesn't need to be proven for it to be real. Like, your digestion can work without you understanding how digestion works. You don't need to understand what a peptide or an enzyme is, or which ones are in your stomach and how they're doing. You don't need a cognitive understanding for your body to function. So science kind of is a bit fallacious in the sense that it assumes that if they don't understand it, that it's not real and doesn't work. So that's my little disclaimer about science. Be your own scientist of your own body. Be conscious of what you do and what you consume and what you take. And have a higher order goal that allows you to subordinate your goals. So, how do you know if something's working? Well, what is your life even for? Like, what are you working towards? Are you putting matter over spirit by just, focusing on your body alone? Or are you using your body as a vehicle to experience strength, to experience states of vitality and higher consciousness? Because that's ultimately what it should be for. So connect with Christ, connect with a higher consciousness, the higher consciousness, your higher consciousness, connect with your purpose, and everything will make a lot more sense. And you'll have these little helpful tools along the way. I hope that perspective is helpful. If there's some specific topics you want me to dive into, and maybe the science and the esoteric wisdom behind certain herbs, reach out in the comments and I'll make an effort to read them. And yeah, at this point in the development of the channel, you guys have a lot of say. So I've got a pretty good wealth of knowledge, and I can also understand things from various perspectives. So if you want some in-depth information and deep dives, reach out to me about it. And thank you for that. And stay strong, stay vital. Truth in blood. Have a good one.